The Motivation Spectrum. Harnessing Every Type of Drive for Success. Written by Ronnie Rowland. Narrated by Roman Cross. Published by Growth Literacy Lounge. Introduction. What truly drives you? Is it the thrill of achieving a challenging goal, the satisfaction of mastering a new skill, the validation from recognition, or the fear of missing out? The truth is, motivation isn't a one-size-fits-all concept. It's a complex and dynamic spectrum of forces that influence everything from our smallest decisions to our life's biggest ambitions. In a world obsessed with finding the one secret to success, many overlook the reality that our drive is multifaceted. The traditional understanding of motivation has long been split into two camps: intrinsic motivation, fueled by internal desires, and extrinsic motivation, driven by external rewards. While these are crucial elements of what moves us, they're just the tip of the iceberg. Beneath the surface lies a richer, more diverse range of motivational forces, each playing a unique role in shaping our behaviors, choices, and, ultimately, our success. This book is your guide to navigating the motivation spectrum, an in-depth exploration of the various types of motivation that drive human behavior. From achievement motivation, where goals are the fuel, to affiliation motivation, which hinges on our need for connection, and from the fear that pushes us to avoid failure to the incentives that pull us toward rewards, each type of drive offers distinct advantages. The key is learning how to recognize, harness, and balance them effectively. In today's fast-paced world, staying motivated is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity. Whether you're a leader trying to inspire a team, a professional aiming for the next level in your career, or someone seeking more fulfillment in life, mastering your motivations can make all the difference. The traditional advice to just follow your passion falls short when you realize that passion alone isn't always enough to sustain you during tough times. True success lies in understanding the full range of what drives you, knowing when to lean into each type of motivation, and using them to your advantage. Approach. Throughout this book, we'll dive deep into the different types of motivation, exploring their characteristics, benefits, and potential pitfalls. You'll discover how to identify your dominant drivers, understand which types of motivation naturally influence you the most and how they shape your decisions, learn when to lean on intrinsic motivation for long-term fulfillment and when to tap into extrinsic rewards to spark action, break through procrastination, self-doubt, and fear by recognizing which drives are at play and how to redirect them, create a balanced motivation strategy, develop a personalized approach that incorporates various motivational forces, helping you stay driven, resilient, and aligned with your goals. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a professional, a student, or someone simply looking to better understand yourself, this book is for you. The principles and strategies you'll learn here apply to every area of life, from career advancement to personal growth, from leading others to achieving your own ambitions. By the end of this journey, you'll have a clearer understanding of what motivates you, a practical toolkit to harness those drivers, and a roadmap to achieving success on your terms. We've noticed that 69% of you watching our videos haven't subscribed to the channel yet. Help us grow by hitting the subscribe button and giving this video a thumbs up. Thank you for inspiring us to keep creating content for you. We would love to hear your thoughts. How did this book resonate with you, and what insights or questions did it inspire? Chapter 1. The Foundation of Motivation. Moving beyond intrinsic and extrinsic. Why do we do what we do? Motivation is the invisible force that shapes our choices, drives our actions, and ultimately determines our success or failure in life. But when you hear the word motivation, what comes to mind? Perhaps it's the inner spark of passion that keeps you up late working on something you love. Or maybe it's the prospect of a reward, a promotion, recognition, or even financial gain that pushes you to go the extra mile. Both of these ideas capture what motivation is about, but they only scratch the surface. For decades, motivational theory has largely revolved around two types: intrinsic motivation, where the drive comes from within, and extrinsic motivation, where external rewards are the primary fuel. While these concepts are powerful, they don't tell the whole story. Human motivation is much more nuanced and diverse than this binary view suggests. In reality, motivation is a spectrum and array of different forces, each with its own characteristics, strengths, and limitations. This book is about exploring that spectrum, helping you understand what drives you in various situations, and showing you how to harness the full range of motivations for greater success. Motivation. Let's start with the basics. Intrinsic motivation is what most of us think of when we talk about pursuing something for the sheer joy of it. It's the feeling of satisfaction you get when solving a complex puzzle or the fulfillment from volunteering because it aligns with your values. In contrast, extrinsic motivation is about external rewards, like working late to earn a bonus or competing in a race to win a medal. Here's the catch. While intrinsic motivation is often linked to sustained engagement and happiness, it's not always enough to drive results, especially when the work is tough or the task is tedious. Extrinsic rewards can provide that extra push, but relying solely on them can lead to burnout, reduced creativity, and a sense of emptiness. So, if both intrinsic and extrinsic motivations have their strengths and weaknesses, what's the solution? The answer lies in recognizing that these are just two stops on a much broader spectrum. Imagine a leader who is driven not just by their passion for the work, intrinsic motivation, or the perks of the position, extrinsic motivation, but also by a desire to influence others and shape the direction of their organization. This leader is tapping into what's known as power motivation, the drive to control resources and make an impact. On the other hand, think about an athlete who pushes themselves harder because they're terrified of losing their edge. That's fear motivation in action, a type of motivation that's often overlooked but incredibly potent in the right circumstances. As we expand beyond intrinsic and extrinsic motivations, we uncover a rich landscape of drivers: achievement motivation, the need to set and conquer challenging goals; affiliation motivation, the desire to form and maintain social bonds; competence motivation, the pursuit of skill mastery and self-improvement; incentive motivation, the lure of rewards, recognition, and praise. Each of these motivations serves a unique purpose. When you learn to recognize and activate the right type at the right time, you unlock a deeper well of drive and resilience. You might wonder, why is it so important to break motivation down into all these categories? The answer is simple: by understanding the different types of motivation, you can craft a more effective strategy for achieving your goals. Rather than being limited by a single source of motivation, you'll be equipped to draw from multiple forces, adapting as circumstances change. Consider this. You're trying to build a new habit, like exercising regularly. Initially, you might be driven by intrinsic motivation, the joy of moving your body and feeling healthier. But on days when that inner drive wanes, you might need to rely on extrinsic motivators, like rewarding yourself after each workout. Over time, as you see progress, achievement motivation kicks in. You're motivated by the goal of hitting a personal record or improving your stamina. This multi-layered approach ensures that your motivation remains steady and sustainable, even when challenges arise. In the coming chapters, we'll explore each type of motivation in detail, diving into their origins, how they manifest in our behavior, and how you can harness them in different areas of life, whether it's in your career, personal development, or relationships. But before we move forward, take a moment to reflect on what currently drives you. 1. Think about a time when you felt most motivated. What was driving you? Was it a passion for the task, a reward you were chasing, or something else entirely? 2. What types of motivation do you tend to rely on most? Are there others you haven't fully explored? 3. Consider a goal you're currently pursuing. What additional sources of motivation could you tap into to keep your momentum going? This is just the beginning. By the end of this book, you'll have a deeper understanding of what drives you and, more importantly, how to harness it to achieve lasting success. Chapter 2. Achievement motivation. The drive to succeed and overcome challenges. What separates high achievers from the rest? Have you ever wondered what sets the most successful people apart? Is it talent, intelligence, or simply luck? While all of these can play a role, there's a more fundamental force at work: achievement motivation. At its core, achievement motivation is the drive to set and reach goals, tackle challenges, and continuously improve. It's what pushes athletes to break records, entrepreneurs to build empires, and individuals like you to keep striving for more. But achievement motivation is more than just the desire to succeed. It's a particular type of motivation fueled by the satisfaction of progress, the thrill of victory, and the pursuit of mastery. It's also a motivation that can be cultivated, harnessed, and used as a powerful tool for personal and professional growth. Achievement motivation is distinct from intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, although it can overlap with both. Unlike intrinsic motivation, which is rooted in enjoyment, achievement motivation is focused on results and outcomes. And unlike extrinsic motivation, which is driven by external rewards, achievement motivation is about the internal satisfaction of overcoming challenges and reaching new heights. Psychologists have long studied what drives high achievers, and the findings are clear. Those who are motivated by achievement have specific traits that set them apart. They set clear goals, embrace challenges, persist through obstacles, and are constantly seeking ways to improve. But the most important aspect is that they find genuine satisfaction in the pursuit of excellence itself. So how can you tap into this motivation in your own life? It starts by understanding the key components of achievement motivation and learning how to activate them when you need a boost. The 3 key elements of achievement motivation. 1. Goal orientation. Achievement-driven individuals are often laser-focused on their goals. They break down larger objectives into smaller, manageable tasks and stay committed to seeing them through. The clearer the goal, the more powerful the motivation. Think about how athletes set milestones for training, or how successful entrepreneurs map out their business plans. When you have a specific target to aim for, you're more likely to stay motivated. 2. High achievers don't shy away from difficult tasks, in fact, they seek them out. It's not just about succeeding, it's about succeeding in the face of adversity. The more challenging the goal, the greater the satisfaction in achieving it. This drive to conquer obstacles is what separates those who are truly motivated by achievement from those who are motivated by comfort or ease. 3. Achievement motivation is characterized by resilience. It's easy to stay motivated when things are going well, but what happens when you hit a roadblock? High achievers push through setbacks because they are driven by the end goal, not just the short-term rewards. Persistence is often the difference between those who succeed and those who give up when things get tough. You don't have to be born with a high level of achievement motivation, it's something that can be developed and strengthened. Here are a few practical steps you can take. Start by setting specific goals that challenge you, but are still realistic. Break them down into actionable steps and set deadlines to create a sense of urgency. The clearer your goals, the more focused and motivated you'll be. Reframe difficult tasks as opportunities to grow rather than threats. When you encounter a challenge, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I improve through this experience? Shifting your mindset in this way can help you stay engaged and driven, even when the road gets tough. One of the best ways to maintain achievement motivation is to track your progress and celebrate small victories along the way. This keeps you engaged and reinforces your sense of accomplishment, which in turn boosts your motivation to keep going. Learn to view setbacks as part of the process, not as failures. The most successful people see challenges and obstacles as opportunities for growth. When you encounter a setback, take time to reflect on what went wrong, adjust your approach, and get back on track with even more determination. Consider Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb. Edison didn't succeed immediately. In fact, he famously failed thousands of times before finally achieving success. What kept him going? Achievement motivation. He was driven not just by the promise of success, but by the satisfaction of overcoming the challenge itself. For Edison, each failure was a step closer to mastery. In modern times, we see this same drive in top athletes, business leaders, and high performers across all fields. They are relentless in their pursuit of goals because they are motivated by the journey, not just the destination. 1. What's a challenging goal you've set for yourself recently? How did you feel about the process of working toward it? Were you energized or overwhelmed? 2. How do you typically respond to setbacks? Do you push through, or do you find your motivation slipping? 3. Think about a time when you felt most accomplished. What drove you to achieve that goal, and how can you replicate that mindset in other areas of your life? Achievement motivation is one of the most powerful forces you can harness, especially when paired with other types of motivation. By cultivating it in your life, you can push your boundaries, exceed your expectations, and achieve more than you ever thought possible. In the next chapter, we'll explore another key type of motivation, affiliation motivation, and how our need for social connection can be a major driver of success. Chapter 3. Affiliation motivation. The power of social connections. What drives us to connect with others? Human beings are social creatures. We crave connection, belonging, and the warmth of relationships. Whether it's bonding with family, finding your place in a team, or seeking validation from peers, our desire to connect plays a significant role in shaping our decisions and behavior. This innate need is what drives affiliation motivation, the urge to be part of a group, to feel accepted, and to maintain positive social relationships. Affiliation motivation is powerful because it taps into one of our most basic psychological needs, the need for belonging. It's why we seek out communities, build friendships, and care about what others think. But affiliation motivation is more than just a desire to avoid loneliness, it's a potent force that can drive success, foster collaboration, and fuel personal growth. Affiliation motivation is rooted in our evolutionary history. In the past, being part of a group was crucial for survival. Today, while our physical survival may no longer depend on our social connections, the psychological impact of belonging remains profound. Whether in personal life or the workplace, affiliation motivation can be a key driver in how we pursue goals, how we perform in teams, and how we maintain our mental well-being. Unlike achievement motivation, which is focused on personal success, affiliation motivation centers on social bonds and positive interactions. People with high affiliation motivation thrive in environments where relationships are prioritized, collaboration is encouraged, and group harmony is valued. The components of affiliation motivation. Affiliation motivation can be broken down into three core components. 1. Belonging and acceptance. At the heart of affiliation motivation is the need to feel like we're part of something bigger than ourselves. Whether it's being accepted by a social group, a professional network, or even a family unit, belonging gives us a sense of identity and purpose. 2. Relationships and social support. Humans are wired to seek connection. Building and maintaining relationships is a primary goal for those driven by affiliation motivation. Positive social interactions, mutual trust, and shared experiences create a strong sense of connection and support. 3. Validation and approval. Affiliation motivation often includes a desire for validation and recognition from others. This can manifest as seeking praise, approval, or simply wanting to be seen as a valued member of the group. While seeking validation has its drawbacks, it can also serve as a motivator to perform well and contribute positively to the group. Affiliation motivation plays out in various ways, depending on the context. In professional settings, affiliation motivation can be a key driver of teamwork, collaboration, and company culture. Employees with high affiliation motivation are more likely to prioritize group harmony, go out of their way to help colleagues, and contribute to creating a positive work environment. On the flip side, these individuals may also be more prone to avoiding conflict, even when it's necessary, out of a desire to keep the peace. Affiliation motivation shapes the way we form and sustain relationships in our personal lives. It drives us to keep in touch with friends, engage in social activities, and seek out communities where we feel a sense of belonging. For many, this deep need for connection can even guide significant life choices, such as deciding where to live or choosing a career path that aligns with their desire for meaningful relationships. While affiliation motivation isn't directly tied to personal goals like achievement motivation is, it can still influence how we approach our aspirations. For instance, someone highly motivated by affiliation may be more likely to set goals that involve teamwork or social engagement, like leading a community project or organizing events. So how can you leverage affiliation motivation to your advantage? Here are a few ways to make the most of this powerful drive. Cultivating relationships and surrounding yourself with supportive, like-minded people can boost your motivation and help you achieve your goals. Whether it's finding a mentor, joining a mastermind group, or participating in professional associations, connecting with others who share your interests can enhance your drive and create opportunities for growth. If you're driven by social connections, using accountability can be a powerful tool. Share your goals with someone you trust, join a group where you regularly check in on progress, or find an accountability partner. Knowing that others are aware of your goals and rooting for your success can be a strong motivator to stay on track. If you lead a team or work in a group setting, fostering a culture of collaboration and support can amplify affiliation motivation, encouraging teamwork, recognizing contributions, and creating spaces where people feel valued and connected can elevate overall performance and satisfaction. Let's take the example of a leader who thrives on connection. This leader isn't just driven by personal success, they're motivated by building a cohesive team, fostering a positive work culture, and ensuring that everyone feels valued. Their focus on relationships and group harmony can lead to stronger collaboration, higher employee satisfaction, and better overall results. While this leader might sometimes struggle with difficult decisions that could disrupt group harmony, their ability to create a supportive environment often outweighs these challenges. In personal life, think of someone who is always at the center of their social circle. They're the ones organizing get-togethers, reaching out to check in on friends, and ensuring everyone feels included. Their motivation is less about individual achievements and more about maintaining strong bonds and creating a sense of community. 1. How important is social connection to you? Do you find that your motivation increases when you're part of a group or working alongside others? 2. Think about a time when you felt most connected to a group. What was it about that environment that made you feel motivated and engaged? 3. Are there areas in your life where leveraging affiliation motivation could help you achieve your goals? How can you build stronger connections or seek out social support? Affiliation motivation is a unique and powerful force that can be harnessed to build stronger relationships, foster collaboration, and create a sense of belonging. By understanding how this motivation operates in your life, you can tap into its potential and use it to drive success in both personal and professional settings. In the next chapter, we'll explore competence motivation, the drive to improve skills, achieve mastery, and continuously grow. Chapter 4. Competence motivation, the desire for mastery and growth. Why do we strive to get better? Have you ever felt the pure satisfaction of mastering a new skill or the pride that comes from achieving something difficult? Whether it's learning to play a musical instrument, excelling in your career, or finally nailing a difficult workout routine, that feeling of growth and improvement is fueled by what psychologists call competence motivation, the desire to develop your abilities, improve your skills, and achieve mastery. Competence motivation is what pushes us to challenge ourselves, seek new knowledge, and stretch our capabilities. Unlike achievement motivation, which is often outcome-oriented and focused on reaching specific goals, competence motivation is process-oriented. It's about the joy of learning, the thrill of growth, and the intrinsic satisfaction that comes from simply getting better at something over time. This type of motivation is crucial for long-term development because it drives continuous learning and self-improvement. It's the force behind why some people never stop exploring new ideas or honing their craft. Understanding and cultivating competence motivation can unlock your potential to achieve more than you ever thought possible. At its core, competence motivation is the drive to become more skilled and capable. It's what pushes us to take on challenges that seem difficult at first, but ultimately lead to growth. People with high competence motivation aren't just driven by external rewards or recognition, they are motivated by the internal desire to feel competent and capable. This motivation is often seen in individuals who are passionate about lifelong learning, skill development, and personal growth. They take pride in the process of improvement, often seeking out opportunities to learn and refine their abilities, whether that's in their careers, hobbies, or personal lives. Key characteristics of competence motivation. 1. Curiosity and learning. Competence-motivated individuals are naturally curious and eager to learn. They enjoy exploring new topics, asking questions, and acquiring new knowledge. For them, learning is an ongoing process, not just a means to an end. 2. Challenge and mastery. People with high competence motivation are drawn to challenges that test their skills. They aren't satisfied with staying within their comfort zones. Instead, they seek out tasks that require effort, creativity, and problem solving. The pursuit of mastery is what keeps them engaged and motivated. 3. Persistence and resilience. Growth doesn't happen overnight. Competence motivation is marked by a willingness to keep pushing through setbacks, failures, and difficulties. When faced with obstacles, competence-driven individuals view them as learning opportunities rather than roadblocks. Competence motivation manifests in different ways depending on the context. In professional development, employees with high competence motivation often seek out training, certifications, or opportunities to take on challenging projects. They are driven by the need to grow their expertise and become leaders in their field. In the workplace, these individuals tend to be the ones who proactively look for ways to improve processes, innovate, and contribute beyond what's expected. In personal hobbies and passions. Whether it's learning to cook, mastering a sport, or developing a creative skill like painting or writing, competence motivation drives people to invest time and energy in their hobbies. The joy of getting better, step by step, keeps them engaged even when progress is slow or difficult. Students and lifelong learners with strong competence motivation are self-directed and take initiative in their learning. They go beyond the curriculum, diving deep into subjects out of genuine interest. For these individuals, learning is an ongoing journey rather than a series of boxes to check off. How to cultivate competence motivation in your life. Competence motivation isn't just something you're born with, it can be developed and strengthened through intentional practice. Here's how you can harness it. Embrace a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that your abilities can be developed through effort, learning, and persistence. By adopting this mindset, you open yourself up to challenges and see failure as a stepping stone, rather than a setback. Embrace the idea that you can always get better with practice, and that improvement is a journey, not a destination. Set learning goals, not just outcome goals. Instead of focusing solely on end results like getting a promotion or winning an award, set goals related to learning and improvement. For example, aim to learn a new skill every month or master a technique that's currently challenging you. These learning goals keep you motivated to grow, regardless of external rewards. Seek feedback and reflect on progress. Competence motivation thrives on feedback. Regularly seek out constructive criticism, reflect on your progress, and adjust your approach based on what you learn. Celebrating small wins along the way also reinforces your motivation and keeps you moving forward. Don't be afraid to take on tasks that push your limits. The more you challenge yourself, the more opportunities you create for growth. Whether it's tackling a complex project at work, learning a new language, or taking up a demanding hobby, consistently stepping out of your comfort zone is key to cultivating competence motivation. Consider the example of someone who's learning to play a musical instrument. At first, their motivation might be driven by extrinsic factors. Maybe they want to impress others or reach a certain performance level. But as they progress, they may find themselves becoming more deeply engaged in the learning process itself. The simple joy of mastering a difficult piece, improving their technique, or seeing progress in their skills becomes the primary motivator. This is competence motivation at work. It shifts the focus from external rewards to the intrinsic satisfaction of growth and mastery. In the workplace, think of a professional who continually seeks out new certifications, takes on challenging projects, and strives to be a thought leader in their field. They aren't just driven by promotions or pay raises, they're motivated by the desire to be the best at what they do. Their pursuit of excellence is fueled by a deep commitment to personal growth. 1. What areas of your life are you most motivated to improve? Are these driven by external rewards, or do you find satisfaction in the process of growth itself? 2. How often do you step out of your comfort zone to challenge yourself? Are there skills you've wanted to develop but have held back on because of fear or doubt? 3. Consider a recent success. How much of it was driven by your desire to master a skill or learn something new? How can you apply that same drive to other areas of your life? Competence motivation is the key to continuous growth, learning, and development. By embracing this type of motivation, you can unlock your potential and achieve mastery in whatever you set your mind to. In the next chapter, we'll explore power motivation, the drive to influence others and shape outcomes, and how it plays a role in leadership and personal success. Chapter 5. Power motivation. The influence of control and leadership. What fuels the desire to lead and influence others? In every team, organization, or community, there are individuals who naturally step up to lead. These people are driven not just by personal success, but by the desire to influence others, shape decisions, and control outcomes. This drive is rooted in power motivation, the need to have an impact, make a difference, and guide others toward a vision. Power motivation isn't inherently about dominance or control in a negative sense. Rather, it's about the ability to steer outcomes, inspire change, and direct resources where they're most effective. It's what drives leaders, change-makers, and influencers to take charge, set a direction, and move people toward a common goal. While power motivation can be seen as purely self-serving, when harnessed effectively, it can be a force for positive leadership, strong decision-making, and purposeful action. Understanding power motivation helps us recognize both its strengths and potential pitfalls, enabling us to leverage it for success while avoiding its excesses. Power motivation is primarily centered around control, not just over others, but over one's environment, resources, and circumstances. It reflects a strong desire to shape outcomes, influence the actions of others, lead teams or groups, and be acknowledged as an authority in a specific area. However, power motivation manifests in different ways, and it's not always rooted in self-serving intentions. There are two primary expressions of power motivation. 1. Personalized power motivation. This is often characterized by a desire for control, status, and recognition for one's own benefit. It can sometimes manifest in a need for dominance or the pursuit of power purely for personal gain. While personalized power motivation can lead to impressive achievements, it also risks becoming destructive if it's unchecked or driven by ego. 2. Socialized power motivation. On the other hand, socialized power motivation is focused on influencing others for the greater good. Leaders with this type of motivation are driven by a desire to empower others, foster collaboration, and achieve collective goals. They use their influence to benefit the group, organization, or community as a whole, rather than seeking power for purely personal reasons. Leadership is one of the clearest examples of power motivation in action. Whether in the workplace, community groups, or even within families, those with strong power motivation often take on leadership roles because they are naturally inclined to direct and influence others. When guided by socialized power motivation, these leaders can inspire trust, foster loyalty, and drive meaningful progress. However, power motivation can also be a double-edged sword. While it can propel someone to positions of authority and decision-making, it can also lead to micromanagement, power struggles, and conflicts if it becomes too focused on personal gain. Key traits of individuals with high power motivation. 1. Influence and persuasion. Those driven by power motivation often excel at influencing others. They have a natural ability to persuade, guide, and direct people toward specific outcomes. This skill makes them effective leaders, negotiators, and strategists. 2. Confidence and decisiveness. Power-motivated individuals are typically confident in their abilities and unafraid to make decisions. They thrive in environments where they can take charge and steer the direction of projects, teams, or initiatives. 3. Vision and ambition. Leaders with high power motivation often possess a strong vision for the future and a deep ambition to see that vision realized. They are driven by a desire to bring about change, whether in their organizations, industries, or communities. Power motivation, when channeled constructively, can lead to powerful results, both for individuals and the groups they lead. Here are some ways to leverage power motivation effectively. Strive to use your influence for the greater good rather than purely for personal gain. Leaders who prioritize the well-being of their team, community, or organization tend to build stronger, more sustainable success. Power-motivated individuals can benefit greatly from honing their empathy and emotional intelligence. Understanding the needs and motivations of others allows you to lead with both strength and compassion, avoiding the pitfalls of being seen as overly controlling or self-serving. While having a clear vision is crucial, great leaders know when to collaborate and empower others. Involving your team or community in decision-making not only builds trust but also strengthens collective commitment to shared goals. Keep ego in check. The desire for power can easily slip into self-serving behaviors if unchecked. Regularly reflect on your motivations and ensure that your drive for influence is aligned with positive outcomes for those you lead. Power motivation in action. Take, for example, a successful CEO who has risen to the top, not just because of their ambition, but because they've consistently used their power to build strong teams, empower employees, and steer their company toward a shared vision. This leader's motivation isn't just about personal accolades, it's about creating a legacy that benefits the entire organization. Their power motivation is socialized, it's channeled toward the success of others and the achievement of collective goals. On the other hand, consider a politician who is driven primarily by the desire for status, control, and recognition. While this type of leader can achieve great influence, their decisions may be more self-serving, leading to conflicts, short-term gains, and an eventual loss of trust among their followers. This illustrates the fine line between personalized and socialized power motivation. 1. Do you naturally seek out opportunities to lead and influence others? When you do, is your primary motivation focused on personal recognition, or are you driven by the desire to benefit the group? 2. How do you respond to situations where you have control or authority? Do you find yourself using that influence to empower others, or do you feel more comfortable directing outcomes yourself? 3. Consider a leadership role you've taken on recently. How did power motivation play a role in your decisions? What could you do to align your influence more closely with positive outcomes for those you lead? Power motivation is one of the most complex and influential drivers in the motivation spectrum. When understood and harnessed effectively, it can lead to transformative leadership, lasting impact, and the ability to create meaningful change. In the next chapter, we'll explore fear motivation, a seemingly negative driver that, when used correctly, can be a powerful tool for avoiding pitfalls and staying focused on your goals. Chapter 6. Fear motivation. Harnessing the desire to avoid negative outcomes. Is fear really a powerful motivator? When we think about motivation, fear isn't often the first thing that comes to mind. It's commonly viewed as a negative force, something to overcome rather than embrace. Yet, fear can be a surprisingly effective driver when used strategically. Fear motivation is the drive to act based on the desire to avoid negative outcomes, whether that's failure, embarrassment, or disappointment. It's the voice in your head that says, "I can't let this happen," and pushes you to take action to prevent an undesirable result. Fear motivation often gets a bad reputation because it's associated with stress and anxiety, but it has its place in the motivation spectrum. When balanced with other types of motivation, fear can sharpen your focus, heighten your sense of urgency, and keep you on track when other motivators fall short. Understanding how to harness fear motivation without letting it overwhelm you is key to using it effectively. Fear motivation is rooted in our instinct for self-preservation. Evolutionarily, fear was essential for survival. It alerted us to dangers and motivated us to avoid threats. In modern life, those dangers are less about physical survival and more about protecting our self-esteem, reputation, or goals. Fear of failing at a project, disappointing others, or missing a critical deadline can be powerful incentives to take action. Unlike intrinsic motivation, which is fueled by passion, or extrinsic motivation, which is driven by rewards, fear motivation is fueled by avoidance. You're motivated not by what you want to gain, but by what you want to prevent. This can be a strong catalyst for getting things done, especially in high-stakes situations where the consequences of inaction are significant. Fear motivation is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it can be a powerful tool for staying disciplined and focused. On the other hand, if left unchecked, it can lead to stress, burnout, and even paralysis. The key lies in finding the balance, using fear motivation as a catalyst without letting it take over. 1. Productive fear is the type of fear motivation that keeps you sharp. It's the fear of letting yourself or others down, the fear of missing out on a valuable opportunity, or the fear of falling behind. This type of fear can push you to prepare thoroughly, stay disciplined, and maintain high standards. 2. On the flip side, paralyzing fear occurs when the pressure becomes overwhelming. Instead of motivating action, it leads to avoidance, procrastination, or overthinking. This happens when the stakes feel so high that the fear of failure becomes crippling rather than motivating. How fear motivation influences behavior. Fear motivation plays a role in many of our daily decisions, often without us even realizing it. The pressure of an impending deadline can be a strong motivator. The fear of missing that deadline and facing the consequences drives many people to stay focused, work efficiently, and complete tasks on time. In this context, fear motivation helps prioritize what's most important and creates a sense of urgency. Fear of regret is another common driver. Many people push themselves to pursue goals or take on challenges because they're more afraid of regretting inaction than of the effort it takes to achieve something. This fear can be a motivating force for making bold decisions, stepping out of comfort zones, and pursuing opportunities that might otherwise be missed. Fear of negative health outcomes, such as illness, weight gain, or loss of mobility, can drive people to adopt healthier habits. The desire to avoid these consequences often motivates individuals to exercise regularly, eat better, and maintain a healthy lifestyle. To use fear motivation effectively, you need to manage it so that it pushes you forward rather than holds you back. Here are some strategies for doing just that. Turn fear into focus. When you feel the pressure of fear, use it to clarify your priorities. Fear can sharpen your focus by highlighting what's truly important. Ask yourself, what exactly am I afraid of? And what can I do to prevent that outcome? Breaking down your fears into actionable steps makes them more manageable. Fear motivation is most effective for short-term goals or high-stakes situations. When you're facing a tight deadline or a critical challenge, letting fear fuel your sense of urgency can be highly effective. However, relying on fear for long-term motivation can lead to burnout, so it's important to balance it with other types of motivation, like intrinsic passion or achievement motivation. Instead of seeing fear as something to dread, view it as a challenge. Fear often signals areas where growth is possible. For instance, if you're afraid of public speaking, see it as an opportunity to develop a valuable skill rather than as a threat. By shifting your perspective, you can turn fear into a motivating force that pushes you to expand your capabilities. If you find that fear is leading to avoidance or procrastination, take small, manageable steps to regain control. Start by addressing the easiest part of the task, building momentum as you go. This approach reduces the overwhelming nature of fear and turns it into a more manageable, motivating force. Let's take the example of a student preparing for final exams. The fear of failing or underperforming can be a strong motivator to study, stay disciplined, and use time wisely. This type of productive fear keeps the student focused and on track, ensuring they put in the necessary effort to succeed. However, if that fear becomes too intense, it could lead to paralysis, where the student is so anxious that they avoid studying altogether. The difference lies in managing the fear, using it to fuel productive action rather than letting it lead to avoidance. Another example is an entrepreneur who fears missing out on a market opportunity. That fear can drive them to take calculated risks, make decisions quickly, and stay ahead of the competition. In this case, fear serves as a motivator to stay proactive and avoid falling behind. 1. Think about a recent situation where fear motivated you to take action. Did that fear drive productive behavior, or did it feel overwhelming? How did you respond? 2. Are there areas in your life where fear of failure or regret could be used as a motivator rather than a deterrent? How can you reframe that fear into actionable steps? 3. Consider a goal you've been putting off. What fears are holding you back, and how can you use those fears to fuel progress rather than avoidance? Fear motivation is a unique and often misunderstood driver. When balanced carefully with other forms of motivation, it can be a powerful catalyst for action and achievement. In the next chapter, we'll explore incentive motivation, the pull of rewards, recognition, and external validation that drives us to strive for more. Chapter 7. Incentive motivation. The pull of rewards and recognition. Imagine being offered a bonus at work for hitting a target, or receiving public recognition for a job well done. Whether it's tangible rewards like money and prizes or intangible rewards like praise and status, the pull of incentives is a powerful force in human behavior. This drive is known as incentive motivation, the motivation to act based on the rewards or recognition you anticipate receiving as a result. Incentive motivation is straightforward. You see something desirable, and you're motivated to take action to get it. It's one of the most common types of motivation used in schools, workplaces, and even in parenting. We're naturally drawn to things that offer us benefits, whether those benefits are financial, social, or personal. But while incentive motivation is effective, it also has its complexities. Relying too heavily on external rewards can lead to short-term thinking, burnout, and a decline in intrinsic motivation. The key is understanding when and how to use incentives strategically so they enhance, rather than replace, other forms of motivation. Incentive motivation is based on a simple principle: the expectation of a reward encourages behavior. This can be as small as getting a gold star for completing a task or as significant as receiving a promotion for excelling at work. The reward serves as a powerful motivator because it creates a direct link between effort and outcome. The clearer the reward and the path to achieving it, the stronger the motivation becomes. Incentive motivation can be broken down into two categories. 1. Tangible rewards. These are physical rewards like money, gifts, bonuses, or prizes. Tangible rewards are straightforward and easy to quantify. They are especially effective in environments like the workplace, where financial incentives are common. 2. Intangible rewards. These are rewards that aren't physical but are still highly valued, such as recognition, praise, status, or social approval. Intangible rewards can be even more motivating than tangible ones because they tap into our need for validation and belonging. The science behind incentive motivation. Why are incentives so motivating? It comes down to the brain's reward system. When we anticipate a reward, our brain releases dopamine, a chemical associated with pleasure and motivation. This dopamine release reinforces the behavior that leads to the reward, making us more likely to repeat that behavior in the future. The stronger the perceived value of the reward, the more dopamine is released, and the greater the motivation to act. However, there's a caveat. If we become too reliant on external incentives, we risk diminishing our intrinsic motivation, the internal drive to engage in activities, because they are enjoyable or fulfilling in themselves. This phenomenon is known as the overstification effect. When external rewards replace the joy of doing something for its own sake, motivation can wane once the rewards stop. Incentive motivation plays out in almost every aspect of life. In the workplace, incentives like bonuses, promotions, and recognition are standard motivational tools in professional settings. Employers know that rewarding top performers with tangible rewards or public acknowledgement boosts productivity and morale. However, incentive systems need to be carefully designed to avoid fostering competition at the expense of collaboration, or creating a culture where people are only motivated by rewards. Schools often use incentive systems like grades, awards, or special privileges to motivate students. While these rewards can be effective in encouraging effort, they can also shift the focus away from learning for learning's sake and toward earning rewards. The challenge is to balance extrinsic incentives with fostering a genuine love of learning. Many people set up reward systems for themselves to stay motivated. For example, someone might reward themselves with a treat after completing a workout, or plan a vacation after hitting a savings goal. These incentives keep them focused and give them something tangible to work toward. Incentive motivation works best when it's used strategically and in conjunction with other types of motivation. Here's how you can harness its power without falling into the trap of relying solely on external rewards. The most effective incentives are those that are clearly defined and directly tied to specific behaviors or achievements. Whether it's a financial reward, a special privilege, or recognition, make sure the reward is meaningful and something you genuinely value. Incentive motivation is most effective when it complements, rather than replaces, intrinsic motivation. For example, if you're naturally motivated to improve your skills in a hobby you enjoy, adding an incentive, like treating yourself after reaching a milestone, can enhance your motivation without diminishing your enjoyment. Use short-term incentives for immediate goals. Incentives work particularly well for short-term goals where you need an extra push to get started or stay focused. For longer-term projects, focus on creating sustainable habits that aren't solely dependent on rewards. If you find yourself only motivated by rewards, it's time to reassess. Over-reliance on incentives can lead to burnout or a sense of emptiness when the rewards no longer feel satisfying. Make sure that other forms of motivation, like passion, purpose, or personal growth, are also part of your motivation mix. Consider a sales team driven by monthly bonuses. The incentive of earning a financial reward for hitting a target can be a powerful motivator, pushing team members to perform at their best. However, if the bonuses are the sole focus, the team may become more competitive than collaborative, potentially leading to unhealthy dynamics. The key is balancing the incentive with a sense of shared purpose, where both the reward and the team's success are valued. On a personal level, think of someone working toward a fitness goal. They might set up a system where they reward themselves with a new workout outfit after reaching a milestone. The reward keeps them motivated, but it doesn't overshadow the intrinsic motivation of enjoying the exercise and feeling healthier. 1. Think about a time when an incentive motivated you to achieve something. Was the reward tangible like money or intangible like recognition? How did it influence your behavior? 2. Are there areas in your life where adding an incentive could boost your motivation? How can you set up a reward system that's meaningful and aligns with your goals? 3. Consider a situation where incentives became less motivating over time. What happened? And how could balancing intrinsic and extrinsic motivation have made a difference? Incentive motivation is one of the most effective tools in the motivation spectrum when used wisely. By understanding how to leverage rewards without letting them overshadow other motivations, you can achieve a balance that keeps you focused and driven. In the next chapter, we'll dive into affiliation motivation and explore how our need for social connection drives us to succeed. Chapter 8. The interplay between motivation types, finding the right balance. Imagine a professional athlete training for a major competition. On one hand, they're driven by intrinsic motivation, the love of the sport, the satisfaction of mastering techniques, and the thrill of pushing their limits. On the other hand, extrinsic motivation also plays a role. Financial rewards, sponsorship deals, and the prestige of winning drive them just as much. They're also fueled by a mix of other motivations: the fear of failure, the pursuit of personal achievement, and the desire for recognition. This blend of different motivational forces illustrates a critical truth: rarely does a single type of motivation operate in isolation. In reality, most of us are driven by a combination of motivations, and our success often depends on finding the right balance between them. Understanding how these different motivations interact and how to leverage them in harmony can be the key to sustained progress, resilience, and long-term achievement. Each type of motivation has its strengths and weaknesses. For example, intrinsic motivation is great for keeping you engaged in activities you naturally enjoy, but it may not be enough to push you through tasks you find tedious or difficult. Conversely, extrinsic motivation can be highly effective in driving short-term results but might lead to burnout if it becomes your sole focus. When different types of motivation work together, they create a synergy that can amplify your drive, keeping you committed even when challenges arise. Here's how various motivations can complement each other. 1. Intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. These two types often work in tandem. For example, you might be intrinsically motivated to pursue a creative project because you love the process, but extrinsic rewards like recognition or financial compensation can provide that extra push when intrinsic motivation alone isn't enough. 2. Achievement motivation drives you to set and reach goals, while competence motivation focuses on mastering the skills needed to achieve those goals. Together, they create a powerful loop: the more you achieve, the more competent you feel, and the more motivated you are to aim even higher. 3. While fear motivation can keep you focused by highlighting the consequences of inaction, incentive motivation can pull you forward by offering attractive rewards. Balancing these two creates a sense of urgency without letting fear become paralyzing. 4. Leaders often need a blend of both motivations. Affiliation motivation fosters collaboration and team cohesion, while power motivation ensures decisive action and strong leadership. Finding the right balance allows leaders to maintain authority while still nurturing positive relationships. Each of us is motivated by a different blend of these forces. The key to unlocking your full potential is understanding your unique mix and knowing when to lean into specific motivations based on the situation. Here's how you can do that. Start by reflecting on past experiences where you felt highly motivated. What drove you in those moments? Were you pursuing a goal for personal satisfaction, external rewards, or the desire to avoid a negative outcome? Identifying these patterns can help you understand your dominant motivations. Recognize that your motivation needs might change depending on the context. For example, when working on a passion project, you might rely more on intrinsic and competence motivation. However, when facing a tight deadline at work, extrinsic and fear motivation might play a larger role. Being flexible and adapting your motivation strategy to the situation can keep you moving forward. Short-term goals often require immediate rewards and incentives to maintain focus, while long-term goals benefit from intrinsic satisfaction and the pursuit of mastery. Striking the right balance between these types of motivation ensures that you stay engaged both in the moment and over time. While combining different motivations can be powerful, it's important to avoid over-relying on any single type. For instance, if you focus too heavily on extrinsic rewards, you might find that your intrinsic motivation starts to wane. Similarly, letting fear motivation dominate can lead to anxiety and burnout, while neglecting achievement motivation might leave you feeling directionless. The key is maintaining a healthy mix that aligns with your goals and personal values. Consider the following scenarios. Extrinsic overload. A salesperson driven purely by financial incentives might achieve high performance in the short term, but they could burn out if they don't also find intrinsic satisfaction in their work. Over time, the pressure to chase rewards can lead to stress and disengagement. An individual motivated primarily by fear of failure may struggle to take risks or try new things. While this motivation might keep them diligent, it can also prevent growth and innovation if it becomes overwhelming. Someone who is entirely focused on personal achievement and competence may miss out on the benefits of affiliation motivation. Without strong social connections, they might find their success lacks meaning, or that they feel isolated even when they reach their goals. How to create a balanced motivation strategy. To maintain a healthy and sustainable balance of motivations, consider the following approaches. When setting goals, think about how you can incorporate multiple motivations. For example, if you're working toward a promotion, focus on both the extrinsic reward, the raise, and the intrinsic satisfaction, mastering new skills. Additionally, consider how affiliation motivation, building strong relationships with your team, and achievement motivation, hitting performance targets, can work together to keep you driven. What drives you today might not be as relevant in 6 months. Periodically reflect on whether your motivations are still aligned with your goals, and adjust your approach as needed. If you notice that you're leaning too heavily on one type of motivation, incentives, think about how you can reintroduce other motivators, like learning opportunities or social connection. Monitor yourself for signs of imbalance, like feeling overly stressed, disengaged, or unfulfilled. If you notice these signs, it's time to reassess whether your motivations are balanced. For example, if you're feeling drained from constantly chasing rewards, shift your focus toward intrinsic goals like personal growth or finding enjoyment in the process. Imagine a top-performing executive who skillfully blends multiple types of motivation. They're driven by the desire to lead, power motivation, and maintain strong relationships with their team, affiliation motivation. At the same time, they find satisfaction in continuously learning new skills, competence motivation, and are motivated by the rewards and recognition that come with success, incentive motivation. By aligning these different motivations, they maintain high performance while avoiding burnout, creating a sustainable path to long-term success. 1. Which types of motivation do you naturally rely on the most? Are there other motivators you could incorporate to create a more balanced approach? 2. Think about a goal you're currently pursuing. Are there areas where you could blend different motivations to enhance your drive and focus? 3. Are there any motivations you might be over-relying on? How could introducing additional types of motivation help create more sustainable progress? The interplay between motivation types is key to creating a balanced, effective strategy for reaching your goals. By understanding how different motivations work together, you can harness their combined power to achieve lasting success in both your personal and professional life. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to apply motivation strategies to leadership and team dynamics, helping you inspire others while maintaining your own drive. Chapter 9. Motivation in Personal Development, Crafting Your Own Blueprint. How do you build lasting growth? When you think about personal development, the goal is often clear. Become the best version of yourself. But reaching that ideal isn't a one-size-fits-all journey. Each person's path is unique, driven by a blend of motivations that guide their choices, habits, and long-term aspirations. Whether you're aiming to enhance your skills, achieve greater fulfillment, or make a lasting impact, understanding your personal motivation blueprint is the key to sustained growth. In this chapter, we explore how you can take control of your personal development by aligning your goals with the motivations that naturally drive you. By creating a tailored strategy based on your unique blend of intrinsic, extrinsic, and other motivational forces, you can design a personal development plan that's both effective and sustainable. Personal development isn't just about setting goals, it's about setting the right goals. The most successful growth strategies are those that align with what genuinely motivates you. For example, if you're naturally driven by competence motivation, you'll thrive when pursuing goals that involve learning new skills and mastering complex challenges. On the other hand, if incentive motivation is your primary driver, attaching tangible rewards to milestones can keep you on track. The first step in crafting your personal development blueprint is identifying the motivations that resonate most with you. Here's how you can start. 1. Reflect on past successes. Think about times in your life when you felt highly motivated and achieved significant progress. What were the driving factors? Were you motivated by the joy of learning, the promise of rewards, or the desire to avoid a negative outcome? Understanding the motivations behind your past successes can provide valuable insights into what drives you today. 2. Identify your core motivators. Once you have a sense of what typically drives you, categorize those motivations into the types we've explored in this book: intrinsic, extrinsic, achievement, affiliation, competence, power, fear, and incentive. This will help you understand your dominant motivators and how they interact. 3. Set goals that align with your motivation blueprint. Now that you know what drives you, the next step is setting goals that match those motivations. For example, if affiliation motivation is strong for you, consider setting goals that involve teamwork, collaboration, or building relationships. If power motivation is a key driver, focus on leadership roles or opportunities to influence others. Designing a motivation-based development plan. To create a personal development plan that leverages your unique motivation blueprint, consider the following elements. Your long-term vision provides the why behind your goals, while short-term wins keep you motivated and focused. For example, if your long-term goal is to become an expert in a field, break it down into smaller milestones like completing courses, earning certifications, or taking on specific projects. These short-term wins not only build momentum but also allow you to celebrate progress along the way. Incorporate multiple motivational drivers. While you may have dominant motivators, it's important to incorporate a mix of motivations to stay engaged. For example, if you're intrinsically motivated by the love of learning, pair that with extrinsic rewards like recognition or incentives to boost your drive when challenges arise. Additionally, consider adding social aspects affiliation motivation to your goals, like joining a group of like-minded individuals or seeking mentorship. Adapt your plan over time. Motivation isn't static, it evolves as your goals, interests, and circumstances change. Regularly review and adjust your development plan to reflect your current motivations. For instance, you may initially focus on learning and growth, but later shift toward leadership and influence as you progress in your career. Strategies for building and sustaining motivation. Even with a well-designed development plan, maintaining motivation over the long haul requires consistent effort and adaptability. Here are some strategies to help you stay on track. 1. Use accountability systems. Whether it's a mentor, a peer group, or an accountability partner, having someone to check in with can boost your commitment and help you stay motivated. Social pressure and support tap into affiliation motivation while adding a layer of external accountability. 2. Visualization is a powerful tool for sustaining motivation. Regularly remind yourself of how far you've come and what you're working toward. Creating visual reminders like a vision board or progress tracker can keep your goals front of mind and provide ongoing motivation. 3. Don't wait until you achieve the final goal to celebrate. Set up a system of rewards for hitting key milestones. These incentives can range from simple treats to larger rewards, depending on what motivates you. This strategy combines incentive motivation with positive reinforcement, keeping your energy high throughout the journey. 4. Periodically take stock of your progress and reassess your goals. Ask yourself, are my current goals still aligned with my motivations? Do I need to adjust my strategy or focus? Reflection helps you stay agile, ensuring that your plan remains relevant and motivating. Consider someone who has always been driven by competence motivation. They thrive on mastering new skills and constantly improving. They decide to pursue personal development in their career by focusing on skill building. They set a goal to learn a new technical skill every quarter, break down the learning process into manageable steps, and reward themselves with something meaningful after each milestone. To add a social element, they join a learning group where they can share progress and get feedback. Over time, they see steady growth in both their skills and their motivation, fueled by a mix of intrinsic satisfaction, tangible rewards, and social support. Another example is a leader driven by power and achievement motivation. Their personal development plan focuses on gaining leadership experience and expanding their influence. They take on challenging projects that allow them to demonstrate their abilities, seek out mentorship to refine their skills, and actively look for opportunities to lead teams. By aligning their goals with what naturally drives them, they stay motivated even through setbacks, knowing that each step brings them closer to their long-term vision. 1. What are your strongest motivators when it comes to personal development? Are your current goals aligned with those motivations? 2. How can you design a personal development plan that incorporates a mix of different motivations, balancing intrinsic satisfaction with external rewards? 3. Are there any areas of your plan that could benefit from regular reflection and adjustment? How often do you check in with yourself to ensure you're still motivated and on the right track? By crafting a personal development plan tailored to your unique motivation blueprint, you set yourself up for lasting growth and achievement. When you understand what drives you and how to strategically apply those drivers, you create a clear path toward becoming the best version of yourself. In the next chapter, we'll dive into how to apply these motivation principles in leadership and team dynamics, exploring how you can inspire and motivate others as effectively as you motivate yourself. Chapter 10: Motivation in Leadership and Team Dynamics. What makes a truly motivated team? Leaders often find themselves in a delicate balancing act. They must keep themselves motivated while also inspiring and directing others. Whether you're managing a small team, leading a department, or running an entire organization, understanding motivation in a leadership context is crucial. Great leaders know how to tap into both their own motivations and those of their team members, creating an environment where everyone is driven to perform at their best. But how do you foster a motivated team, especially when each person is driven by different things? The answer lies in understanding and leveraging the diverse types of motivation discussed in this book. By recognizing what motivates each individual and aligning those drivers with team goals, you can create a powerful synergy that elevates performance, collaboration, and satisfaction. Leadership isn't just about directing tasks and making decisions, it's about setting a tone, creating a culture, and inspiring others to contribute their best efforts. A motivated team doesn't just happen by accident, it's the result of deliberate actions, clear communication, and an understanding of what drives people. Here are some key principles for using motivation effectively in leadership. 1. Know your team's motivational drivers. Just as you've explored your own motivations, it's essential to understand what drives each member of your team. Are they motivated by achievement and recognition? Or do they thrive on social connections and teamwork? Do they seek opportunities for personal growth and skill building? Or are they driven by incentives and tangible rewards? Understanding these nuances allows you to tailor your approach to each person, ensuring that their unique drivers are activated. 2. A strong vision is at the heart of any motivated team. However, a one-size-fits-all approach rarely works. For example, if you're leading a project, your vision should appeal to both those who are driven by achievement, by highlighting clear goals, and those who are motivated by affiliation, by emphasizing collaboration and shared success. Additionally, incorporating incentives or opportunities for personal development can engage those with other motivational drivers. 3. While extrinsic rewards like bonuses and recognition are powerful, they should complement, not replace, intrinsic motivation. The most effective leaders strike a balance by offering meaningful work, opportunities for growth, and a positive team culture that naturally motivates people from within. When team members find intrinsic satisfaction in their roles, they're more likely to remain engaged even when external rewards are not immediately present. Every team is made up of individuals with different strengths, goals, and motivations. Here are some strategies for motivating a diverse team while fostering cohesion and shared purpose. 1. Customized incentives and rewards. Not everyone is motivated by the same rewards. Some team members might be driven by public recognition, while others prefer private acknowledgement or tangible incentives like bonuses. Tailor your rewards to match what each person values most. For example, if one employee is motivated by competence and growth, offering opportunities for additional training or career development might be more motivating than financial rewards. 2. Empowering team members to take ownership of their work boosts intrinsic motivation. When people have control over how they achieve their goals, they're more invested in the outcome. As a leader, focus on setting clear objectives while allowing your team the freedom to determine how to reach them. This autonomy also taps into competence motivation, as it challenges individuals to take initiative and grow their skills. 3. Recognition is a key driver of motivation, especially for those motivated by social connection or achievement. Regularly acknowledge your team's efforts and accomplishments, both publicly and privately. A culture of appreciation not only boosts morale, but also reinforces the behaviors and attitudes you want to see repeated. 4. For those motivated by affiliation, building strong relationships within the team is essential. Create opportunities for collaboration, social bonding, and peer support. Whether through team-building activities, cross-functional projects, or simply encouraging open communication, fostering a sense of belonging can enhance motivation and create a more cohesive team. 5. People driven by achievement, power, and competence are often looking for opportunities to stretch themselves. Provide challenging assignments that align with their growth goals, offer leadership roles, and set ambitious targets that push them to excel. By aligning these challenges with individual motivations, you keep high performers engaged while helping them advance. As a leader, your motivation also plays a significant role in shaping the environment and culture of your team. If you're driven by achievement, you might naturally set ambitious goals and foster a high-performance culture. If you're motivated by social connections, you may prioritize team bonding and collaboration. However, it's important to be aware of how your motivations influence your leadership style and ensure they're balanced with the needs of your team. Here's how you can craft your own motivation strategy as a leader. Reflect on your leadership style. Consider which motivations drive you the most. Are you focused on achieving results, building relationships, or influencing outcomes? Understanding your dominant drivers helps you recognize where you might naturally excel and where you may need to be more intentional in your approach. Your personal motivations should align with the broader goals of the team. For example, if you're achievement-oriented, setting ambitious targets can be motivating for you, but ensure those targets also align with what motivates your team. If your team is driven by affiliation, integrating social activities or collaborative goals can keep everyone engaged while still meeting objectives. Leadership is dynamic, and so is motivation. Regularly check in with your team to gauge how they're feeling, what's motivating them, and where adjustments might be needed. Flexibility and responsiveness are key to maintaining a motivated, high-performing team. Consider a manager leading a diverse sales team. Some members are driven by financial incentives, while others are motivated by recognition and the satisfaction of helping clients. The manager tailors their approach by setting up a reward system that includes both commission-based bonuses for those driven by tangible rewards and a recognition program that highlights top performers publicly. Additionally, they provide opportunities for skill development and encourage collaboration by creating cross-training programs, ensuring the team feels connected and supported. By understanding what drives each team member and balancing various motivational strategies, this leader creates a culture where everyone feels valued and motivated to perform at their best. 1. As a leader, what are your strongest motivators? How do they influence your leadership style and approach to motivating others? 2. Think about your team members. What are their primary motivators? Are you currently tapping into those drivers, or is there room for more alignment? 3. How can you create a team culture that balances individual motivations with shared goals and values? Leadership isn't just about directing others, it's about understanding what drives people and creating an environment where everyone is motivated to contribute their best. By blending different motivational strategies and aligning them with your team's strengths, you can build a culture of high performance, collaboration, and sustained growth. In the next chapter, we'll explore how motivation evolves over time and how you can adapt your strategy as your priorities and circumstances change. Chapter 11. Adapting your motivation strategy across life stages. Motivation isn't static, it evolves as we move through different stages of life. What drives you in your 20s may look entirely different by the time you reach your 40s, 50s, or beyond. Life changes, such as career transitions, shifting priorities, and personal growth, demand that we continually adapt our motivation strategies. Understanding how to adjust and realign your motivations over time is key to staying fulfilled, focused, and driven, no matter where you are in your life's journey. This chapter explores how motivation changes over time and provides strategies for adapting to new life stages. By being proactive and responsive to these shifts, you can ensure that your goals and efforts remain aligned with what truly drives you at each phase of your life. Understanding motivation through the lens of life stages. As we grow and change, so do our motivations. Different phases of life bring different priorities and challenges, and our motivations often shift to reflect these new realities. Here's a look at how motivation typically evolves across major life stages. 1. Early career and youth 20s to early 30s. During this stage, many people are driven by a desire to prove themselves, build a career, and establish independence. Achievement motivation often takes center stage, with goals centered around advancing in a career, earning financial stability, and gaining recognition. Social connections and the desire to belong also play a significant role, as people build networks and seek out communities where they feel valued. 2. Midlife and career plateau mid-30s to 50s. As you progress in your career and personal life, motivations may shift towards stability, work-life balance, and legacy building. Competence motivation often grows stronger as you seek mastery in your field or pursue more meaningful, purpose-driven work. Extrinsic motivators like financial rewards may still matter, but intrinsic satisfaction from doing fulfilling work and contributing to something larger becomes increasingly important. 3. Late career and pre-retirement 50s to 60s. In this stage, motivations may pivot toward legacy, mentorship, and personal fulfillment. Power motivation might evolve from climbing the ladder to influencing and guiding others. There's often a focus on giving back, mentoring younger professionals, and ensuring that your impact and achievements are lasting. For many, the pursuit of balance and enjoying life's rewards also becomes a primary driver. 4. Retirement and later life 60s and beyond. In retirement and beyond, motivations often shift toward personal satisfaction, relationships, and legacy. The focus moves away from external achievements and more toward intrinsic goals, enjoying hobbies, maintaining meaningful relationships, and reflecting on the life you've built. For some, affiliation and social connection become central as they seek out communities, volunteer work, or new learning opportunities. Adapting to shifting motivations. As your priorities change, so should your motivation strategy. Here are some ways to stay aligned with your evolving motivations at different life stages. 1. What motivated you 5 years ago may no longer be relevant today. Make it a habit to periodically revisit your goals and assess whether they still align with your current priorities. This might mean setting new goals that reflect your shifting values or letting go of old ambitions that no longer resonate. 2. As your motivations evolve, so should your approach to learning and personal development. Continually seek out opportunities to grow, whether through professional development, learning new skills, or exploring new hobbies. Keeping your mind engaged and your skills sharp allows you to stay motivated and adaptable, no matter your age. 3. Whether you're in the early stages of building a career or reflecting on the legacy you want to leave behind, connecting your actions to a deeper sense of purpose can sustain motivation even as circumstances change. Ask yourself, what impact do I want to make at this stage in my life, and how can I align my goals with that purpose? 4. As you progress in life, there's often a growing need for stability and balance. However, staying motivated also requires continually pushing yourself to grow and explore new possibilities. Strive to find a balance between maintaining what you've built and challenging yourself to keep expanding your horizons. For example, if you've reached a plateau in your career, you might explore lateral moves, mentoring roles, or passion projects that reignite your drive. Adapting to new life stages also means being open to embracing motivations that you may not have prioritized before. For instance, if you've always been driven by achievement and external success, you might find that affiliation and social connection become more important as you seek deeper relationships and a sense of community. Or, if you've been focused primarily on career growth, you might shift toward legacy goals, where mentoring others or giving back takes precedence. It's important to recognize that changing motivations aren't a sign of losing direction, but a natural evolution as your values and circumstances shift. Being flexible and open to these changes allows you to remain fulfilled and engaged as you move through different phases of life. Consider someone who, in their 20s, was highly driven by extrinsic rewards like career advancement and financial success. They worked long hours, chased promotions, and sought recognition from peers. As they entered their 40s, however, their motivations shifted. They began seeking more meaningful work that aligned with their values, focusing on projects that offered intrinsic satisfaction and the opportunity to make a positive impact. In their 50s, they transitioned to a mentoring role, finding fulfillment in guiding younger professionals and shaping the future of their industry. Another example is someone who, after retiring, discovered a new passion for volunteering and community work. In earlier years, their motivations were centered around achievement and competence, driven by the pursuit of career success. But in retirement, they found renewed motivation in contributing to their community, forming new social connections, and finding purpose in giving back. 1. How have your motivations changed over the past few years? Are your current goals aligned with where you are in life, or do they need to be adjusted? 2. As you think about your future, what new motivations might become more important to you? How can you start preparing for those shifts now? 3. Are there areas where you feel stuck or unmotivated? Could it be that your goals no longer align with your current life stage and priorities? How might you realign them? Motivation is a dynamic force that evolves as we do. By staying attuned to your changing priorities and adapting your strategies to align with new motivations, you can continue to grow and achieve fulfillment throughout every phase of life. In the final chapter, we'll bring everything together, helping you design a comprehensive motivation master plan that keeps you on track and inspired, no matter what challenges and changes lie ahead. Chapter 12. Creating a Motivation Master Plan. Designing a life fueled by meaningful motivation. You've explored the diverse types of motivation, from intrinsic and extrinsic drivers to more nuanced forces like fear, power, competence, and affiliation. You've learned how these motivators interact and how they evolve over time. Now it's time to bring it all together to create a comprehensive motivation master plan that aligns your goals, values, and motivations into a clear and actionable roadmap. The purpose of this final chapter is to help you craft a personal blueprint that will keep you motivated and on track, regardless of the challenges and changes you encounter. By integrating the strategies you've learned, you can design a life that's not just driven by short-term goals but fueled by sustained and meaningful motivation. Your motivation master plan is a dynamic guide that evolves with you. It's about setting the right goals, maintaining momentum, and ensuring that your motivations remain aligned with your values and life stages. Here's how to build your plan. 1. Motivation is strongest when it's tied to something meaningful. Start by identifying your core values and the purpose that drives you. Ask yourself what truly matters to me, and what impact do I want to make in my life and in the lives of others. These answers will form the foundation of your master plan, guiding your choices and ensuring that your goals align with what you value most. 2. Your long-term vision is the big picture, the overarching goal that gives your life direction. Whether it's building a legacy, achieving mastery in your field, or creating a fulfilling personal life, your vision should reflect both your values and your key motivations. This vision is your North Star, keeping you focused even when short-term goals shift. 3. Set SMART goals with motivation in mind. Our vision becomes actionable through SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound goals. But to keep these goals motivating, they should align with the motivations that drive you most. For example, if you're driven by achievement, set challenging goals with clear milestones. If affiliation motivates you, build in opportunities for collaboration and connection. 4. Based on what you've learned about yourself, identify the primary and secondary motivations that fuel your drive. Your primary motivators are those you rely on most consistently, while secondary motivators can be activated when needed to boost momentum. For instance, if competence and growth are your primary drivers, you might add incentives as secondary motivator to stay motivated during difficult phases. 5. No single type of motivation is enough to sustain long-term progress. Your master plan should include a mix of intrinsic satisfaction, enjoying the process, extrinsic rewards, achieving tangible results, and additional motivators like social connection, recognition, and the desire to overcome challenges. This balanced approach ensures that you're consistently driven, even as your circumstances and goals evolve. 6. Long-term goals can feel overwhelming, which is why breaking them down into smaller, actionable steps is crucial. Create milestones that provide regular opportunities for success and reward. These steps not only keep you on track, but also build confidence as you see steady progress. For each step, consider how you can incorporate multiple motivators, like celebrating milestones with rewards or engaging others in your journey. 7. Motivation isn't static, and your master plan shouldn't be either. Build in regular checkpoints monthly, quarterly, or annually to assess your progress. Reflect on your motivations and adjust your plan as needed. Ask yourself, are my goals still aligned with my values and motivations, and what adjustments do I need to make to stay on track? Regular reflection helps you stay proactive, ensuring that your plan evolves with you. Even with a well-crafted plan, there will be times when motivation wanes. Life's inevitable ups and downs can disrupt your momentum. Here's how to address some common motivation challenges. 1. When you feel overwhelmed. Break your goals down even further. Focus on just one small, manageable task that you can complete today. Overwhelm often comes from trying to tackle too much at once. Narrowing your focus helps you regain control and build momentum. 2. Plateaus are common, especially with long-term goals. When progress stalls, revisit your motivations. Are there other types of motivation you can tap into? For example, if intrinsic motivation is fading, introduce new extrinsic rewards or shift your focus to a related challenge that reignites your interest. 3. Life changes can disrupt even the best laid plans. Whether it's a career shift, health challenge, or family responsibility, flexibility is key. Don't be afraid to adjust your goals or redefine success based on your new circumstances. Realignment is part of the process, not a setback. Sustained motivation isn't about constant intensity, it's about consistency and resilience. Here are some strategies to keep your motivation strong over the long term. Regularly acknowledge and celebrate progress. Small victories build confidence and keep you energized. Whether it's rewarding yourself with something you enjoy or simply taking time to reflect on how far you've come, these celebrations reinforce your motivation. Motivation thrives in the right environment. Build a network of people who encourage, challenge, and inspire you. Whether it's mentors, peers, or accountability partners, surrounding yourself with motivated individuals can help you stay focused and resilient, especially during tough times. Visual reminders of your long-term goals can be powerful motivators. Whether it's a vision board, daily affirmations, or journaling about your progress, keeping your vision visible ensures that your actions remain aligned with your ultimate purpose. Motivation isn't a straight line. There will be setbacks, delays, and moments of doubt. Instead of being harsh on yourself, practice self-compassion. Recognize that setbacks are part of the journey and use them as opportunities to learn, adjust, and come back stronger. Let's bring everything together. Here's a step-by-step guide to creating your own motivation master plan. 1. Define your core values and purpose. Write down what matters most to you. What are your non-negotiables in life and work? What impact do you want to make? 2. Visualize your ideal future. What does success look like for you in 5, 10, or 20 years? Describe it in detail, focusing on how it aligns with your values. 3. Set SMART goals. Break your vision down into actionable goals. Make sure each goal is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. 4. Based on your journey through this book, list your primary and secondary motivations. How can you leverage these drivers to stay engaged with your goals? 5. Create milestones and rewards. Break each goal down into smaller steps with clear milestones. Decide on rewards or celebrations for hitting each milestone. 6. Establish a reflection schedule. Determine how often you'll review and adjust your plan. Set reminders to check in on your progress, reassess your motivations, and make adjustments as needed. 1. What does your long-term vision look like, and how does it align with your core values? 2. What are the primary motivations that drive you? How can you build them into your daily routines and goals? 3. How will you stay resilient and adaptable when challenges arise? What strategies can you use to keep motivation high over the long term? Crafting a motivation master plan is about more than just reaching goals. It's about designing a life that's aligned with your values, fueled by purpose, and driven by a deep understanding of what motivates you. By integrating the insights from this book and continually adapting your approach, you can build a life that's not only successful but also deeply fulfilling. You now have the tools, strategies, and knowledge to create lasting motivation. Your journey is uniquely yours. Embrace it, stay flexible, and let your motivations guide you toward the life you truly want to create. Final words. Motivation is the engine that drives our lives. It's what keeps us striving toward goals, overcoming challenges, and growing into the people we aspire to be. But as you've discovered in this journey, motivation isn't a simple, one-dimensional force. It's a spectrum of diverse drivers that evolve with you as you move through life's stages. The true power of motivation lies in understanding what drives you personally and strategically applying it to craft a life that's aligned with your deepest values and aspirations. Whether you're motivated by the joy of learning, the satisfaction of achieving, the pull of connection, or the push of external rewards, each of these forces has a place in your journey. As you go forward, remember that motivation isn't just about reaching goals, it's about enjoying the process, learning from every step, and staying adaptable as life changes. Keep reflecting, adjusting, and most importantly, stay connected to the purpose that drives you. You now have the tools to not only stay motivated, but to design a life fueled by lasting, meaningful motivation. Embrace the journey ahead with clarity, confidence, and the knowledge that your path is uniquely yours to shape. Stay motivated, stay inspired, and keep pushing forward. Your best self is always just a step away. Take care and be well.